Well, it's a bill that has received very little attention, but may make free speech a felony. Felony?
Yeah, felony means more than a year in jail. This is not like a traffic ticket. The type of thing that for 230 years Americans took for granted because it was protected by the First Amendment.
Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech has actually been abridged.
All right. What y'all think about that? Like always, let me know. Let the artist know, especially. You don't have to tell me shit if you don't want to. Just let the fucking artist know, and then they'll let me know. Alright? If you don't want to deal with me, that's cool. If you want to deal with me, that's cool. That's cool too. I don't care either way. I'm just here providing y'all some music and giving y'all some information at the same time. Having a little talk with y'all. Like I said earlier, it's like you're at a house party. You doing what you're doing, or you're driving to work, driving to school, driving back, whatever. You're doing whatever you're doing in life. You're listening to this. You're listening to me talk about some stuff. Get your mind going, because it's always good to have knowledge. It's always good to make sure your mind's working, because if not, it turns off and you're a fucking robot, which is another word for slave. You don't want to be that shit. Nobody wants to be a fucking robot, a machine, a servant, a slave, whatever you want to call it, a cog in the wheel. Nobody wants to be that shit. Nobody. Everybody wants to be a free individual. But you can't do that. Not in America, the land of the free, right? And it's some bullshit, man. You don't fully realize until you take a step back. So like I was talking to you about earlier, just to pick up where we left off with the 16th Amendment. And I want to read to y'all what the 16th Amendment actually states. 16th Amendment states, Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes on incomes from whatever source derived without apportionment, among the several states, and without regard to any census or enumeration. What's that mean? Well, considering it's written in legal terms, makes it a little bit difficult. Plus, it was written in 1909. That's when it was passed by the Congress. 2/3 majority of the House, obviously. If y'all know anything about constitutional law and how amendments get added to the Constitution, this is actually a constitutional amendment. This is how government is supposed to work. The Bill of Rights was set out to lay the foundation, and then there's different articles of the Constitution that laid out the different powers of the different branches of the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch, right? And in order to make any changes or additions as to the functions of government and the decrees of government, it had to be ratified and go through the process to become an amendment to the United States Constitution. That's how laws are passed. But they haven't passed an amendment to the Constitution in a while now. This one was finally adopted whole scale February 3rd, 1913. And ever since then, we have been slaves. That was the day we stopped being the land of the free. Before, we had taxes on things, but it was all usage tax, right? So if you went and you bought something, paid tax on it. Most of that tax went to the state and local governments where you worked or where you lived, where you purchased that, either one, whatever circumstances. But then also a sliver of it went to the federal government, and the states all paid that. The states all paid a certain percentage of royalties per se to the federal government in order to make sure that the federal government can run in its operation that it was constitutionally assigned to do, which was to protect and defend the the United States of America. Because we're a federation or confederacy of states. That's what the United States of America is. We started out as a constitutional republic, and we still are a constitutional republic that has been taken over by a large swath of democracy, direct democracy. We always had forms of democracy that allowed us to exercise our free speech on who we want to represent us in government. But the government itself was designed to operate as a constitutional republic, which means that we are a confederacy of states. All the states are independent and can operate themselves, and that there's a central government placed over all of them that was built by all of them in order to protect common interests, such as life, property, stuff like that. So the federal government's main and only job, enumerated in the Constitution, is to uphold rule of law dictated by the Constitution of the United States, settle any disputes between the states, and for a common defense of the United States from any other outside countries. That's it. They were not designed to redistribute wealth. That was never in the Constitution. We had roads built. There were schools. There were all that kind of shit. Because there were still taxes being levied. However, it just wasn't enough. And after the Great Depression started hitting, stock market crash, after World War I, a bunch of shit that started happening at the beginning of the 19th century that put a lot of people into a state of fear. And fight or flight kicks in, and a lot of people end up submitting because it's easier, especially if somebody else is willing to do the fight for you. Then you can submit to their will. The 16th Amendment was the amendment that put everybody in the United States into slavery. You had the 13th Amendment, going off my memory, so if I'm wrong, shoot me a line, but that abolished slavery. The main people that were slaves that we all know about were black people, African descendants, African Americans, whatever you want to classify as, people that were brought here from Africa and were slaves. It abolished that form of slavery. But it seems that people always strive for more power and control. And there are some that do it more than others. And the ones that pass through, that organize the passing through of the 16th Amendment to legalize the indentured servitude of every American citizen from 1913 on until we get our shit together and destroy that motherfucking amendment by having another amendment to the Constitution that abolishes the 16th Amendment. Just like we did with prohibition for alcohol. There was the amendment that prohibited alcohol in the United States, and then there was the amendment that took away that amendment, that abolished that amendment. That's what we need to work towards, because the good does not outweigh the bad in the situation whatsoever. You have zero choice on this. If you don't pay your taxes, you will be locked in a cage. You will have everything taken from you forcibly, and you will be locked in a cage. Your family will suffer for that, and they will probably lose assets and wealth as well too, if they have any. The government gives zero fucks if you don't have their money. And they instituted the withholding of federal taxes, because once they put in this tax for the 16th Amendment in 1913 in order to get the income tax passed, and to say that everything that you make we get a cut of, not just on when you buy stuff, but we want that money before you buy stuff. Because whenever you buy off of Joe down the street, you buy some of his tomatoes he's got growing in his backyard, he's not a business, he's just Joe, and you give him a few bucks, we don't get a cut off that. And you know, as Americans who started a revolutionary war partially about taxes, that was one of the big boiling points that caused it, was excessive taxes. We were slaves. Humanity is always fighting to free itself from tyranny and slavery, because somebody is always wanting to control other people and enslave them for their own benefit. And that's what we have to do. We have to demand that we keep our income, and in order to have some of the niceties that we like, some taxes will have to be taken. But you will have the choice on if you wish to pay them or not. The proposal of a flat tax or usage-based taxes are a great opportunity to get away from this enslavement that we are in with the 16th Amendment and the income tax. I figured I'd bring that up because they're always talking, the government's always talking about taxes in one form or another. And they use the politics of envy, like I was telling you about earlier, in order to get you to agree to take from somebody else. Be like, hey, you know what? As if I came up to you, right? I came up to you and I said, hey, how's it going? What's up? So, you see your neighbor over here down the road? They got that nice new car, right? It's because they're rich, And, I don't know about you, but do you know how they got their money? Because I don't know how they got their money, but I guarantee they exploited somebody. They're really greedy people, and I'm sure that they have people that they don't appreciate, and they underpay, and they don't give them good benefits and stuff like that. They're just bad people because they got all this money and they're just hoarding it. And look at you're driving around in a fucking beat up car, or even if you even have a car, right? They got this nice fucking car, they got a nice house, they're always wearing nice clothes, their kids go to fucking private school, and look at them, man. Look at them motherfuckers. I bet you they're eating fucking steak tonight, and you're fucking maybe having some hamburger with your helper. But hey, guess what? You know what? I know some people, alright? And they got guns. They got guns, and they got SUVs, and we got jails and shit like that, right? So we got a whole fucking military. Let's just say that we got this. We got this. Yeah, I got a team. And if you just, we're a nation of laws, right? We're a nation of laws. I got this law, right? It's a great law. And it's designed to protect you. it's going to protect you from people like that, because that person over there, they're an evil person. They only care about themselves, and they're greedy. They're the rich 1% people. Those people over there, this made me sick thinking about it. Don't they you? Disgusting. Anyway, I got this bill here. I just need you to give me authorization, and I'll go take some of their stuff for you. It's okay. Hey, it's okay. They deserve it because they're greedy and they're bad people, right? Bad people always deserve what comes to them, right? Karma's a bitch. It'll come and get them. Right, exactly. Yeah. So, just go ahead and sign this. And, you know, how would you like an extra couple $100 a month? You like that? All right. I'll give you a couple extra $100 a month. We'll take it from him. I'll take it from him. You won't have to worry about it. You won't have a guilty conscience or nothing like that, right? Because you just act like this conversation never happened, right? Just go ahead and sign this here real quick. Just gives me authorization to go take somebody else's shit and give you a cut. And it'll be alright. Okay? Well, you'll get your check. And just, dude, imagine what you could do with an extra couple $100 a month. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're already only eating the helper. You know, you can't afford the hamburger, right? You know, you got the Kool-Aid with no sugar, the ham with no burger, you know, peanut butter, no jelly. You need what's next to help you out, right? You need to fill in those gaps. I got you, though. I got you. Here, take these $200. All right. Every single month we'll get it to you. Just make sure that, you know, you keep us informed on how much money you're making and stuff like that, you know, because we don't want you to make too much. Anyway, so just make sure you take care of this paperwork and stuff like that. But guess what? We got you covered, and we're gonna make sure that those people over there, those greedy rich sons of bitches, that they pay their fair share. That's basically what the government does to you. Right? Every time you hear it, man, you hear fucking hypocrite sons of bitches like Bernie Sanders saying shit like this the whole time. That motherfucker's got 3 goddamn houses. How many of y'all listening even own a fucking house? Exactly. This motherfucker. You know his last book deal, he made over $1 million in just 1 year, right? In America, if you make over $300,000 or $320,000, somewhere in there, a year, you're in the top 1% of America. That motherfucker on his goddamn Senate salary makes approximately $300,000 a year. That puts him in the top 1%. Take in consideration that he made over $1 million in just one single year from book sales. That ironically, this book came out after he ran in an election. There was a national election where he had all these people coming out and donating to his cause and everything like that. And he was talking about the same shit that I just illustrated in that little act that I talked about, right? Those greedy 1%ers over there, those rich people, I'll make sure they paid their fair share. You just make sure that I keep my job, and I'll make sure that you get some money out of it. Hypocritical pieces of shit like that goes and buys a 3rd fucking house after running around the country for a fucking year talking about all these rich people taking all these tax loopholes in order to avoid paying taxes, and they need to pay their fair share. And I'm here for you. I'm here for the working class. That motherfucker's never had a job outside of government in his life. Ever. He doesn't know the first thing about working a fast food job. He doesn't know what it's like to work a customer service job. He doesn't know what it's like to work in a fucking factory. I do. What about y'all? Fuck, I've worked all of them. I've worked construction, I've worked landscaping, I've worked fucking gas stations, fast food places, factories, warehouses. I've done all that shit. That piece of shit up there saying how we need to stick it to the 1% when that motherfucker makes $300,000 a year on a government fucking salary. And where does the government get their money? From taking that 20-some% from you every fucking 2 weeks. Or more. If you make over $25,000, if you make over $40,000 a year, you pay more than that. If you make over $80,000 a year, you pay more than that. And if you're married and both y'all work and you make over $80,000 a year, you pay more than fucking 20%. You know, you get your deductions and all that shit. So basically what they do is they take from you every fucking 2 weeks and then they make you appeal to get that back. You got to explain why you need that money back because they don't think you deserve it, but they'll give you some lines to where you can get some credits and deductions. And the same pieces of shit that oversee this and talk every goddamn day about the politics of envy and breed that fucking hatred and that crab in a barrel mentality is poison. Bernie Sanders is not the only one. He's just the loudest fucking voice in the room. And the people that actually do a lot of the fucking work are the ones that you don't hear. I'm not talking about the Illuminati and all that shit, right? That's a different discussion. What I'm talking about is the head of the IRS. Y'all don't follow politics, I'll let you on a little secret. The Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare, in order to make it seem like if you were against that bill, you were against Obama, and if you're non-black, then that means you're racist. I'm just gonna say it as it is. Mandated that you have health insurance, and if you don't, you pay a fee, and that fee is whatever the fuck the government wants to make it that year. It started out slow, and then it's just been incrementally increasing ever so slightly. And by slightly, I mean doubling and tripling every year. One of the first things that Trump did when he came into office this year was sign an executive order directing the IRS not to levy any of those penalties on any American citizen that has not had health insurance from here on, from that day on out. What does the head of the IRS do? The opposite. He joins the cool crowd and says, fuck you, Trump. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna stick it to these motherfuckers that either don't want to have health insurance or are in that gray area where they can't afford it, yet they don't make not enough money to get a fucking handout from the government, aka subsidy, in order to pay for it. And then they have one of those jobs that they're just trying to get it, but they can't get it. You know, they can't take that other step up to get that better job that'll actually help them out with some of the insurance or the whole thing. So we're gonna stick it to them motherfuckers. Fuck you, Trump. That's what the government is all about. The head of the IRS, not just because he's against Trump, because he runs the machine that steals from you every time you get paid. That guy does not speak very often. He is not the loudest one in the room. That's Bernie Sanders, the nice old guy that looks like your fucking uncle, or the nice guy down the street who you help carry the groceries in if you're a nice human being. That's that guy. He's talking about, you know, hey, you know, life's not fair, blah, blah. He's giving you all this shit. He's feeding you and feeding you. But who's really doing the fucking dirt is the guy that doesn't fucking say a goddamn word. He just sits there, keeps typing his fucking memos down to his fucking minions, and then they execute the order to take a couple more percent off the top from you, to levy that fucking fee every year. Free yourself from slavery. Demand of your elected officials that you are free to choose on whether you want to buy a product out of the private market and what product that is. Demand that you are free to keep all of your income and spend it however you want and pay taxes however you want, in theory. There's people out there that are championing these type of ideas. And you need to support them and look into it. Just all you have to do is stand up and say no more. Follow the person who's not talking about envy and who's talking about freedom. It's not a stunt for Trump, because that's not him if you know what the fuck you're talking about. He's got some good points, he's got some bad points, just like everybody. But there are a lot of people in the libertarian movement, and yes, I'm stumping for the libertarian movement, not the Libertarian Party, because them motherfuckers have been corrupted this last election cycle too. That's why they fucking put Gary Johnson on some fucking crazy medication and had him out there talking about what is Aleppo and all this other stupid shit, making him look like a fucking fool in order to make libertarians look like a fool. Libertarians are not fools. If you Google top libertarian voices, those people are not fools. You think I know some shit? Them motherfuckers will blow your goddamn head off. Jason Stapleton, PragerU, Mises Institute, Ron Paul, people like that. Taxation is theft. And if you don't understand that after any of the analogies that I've said, you'll probably never understand it until you end up fucking waking up and realize that whenever you get your pay stub, all the theft is right there written. It's got minus signs right next to it. Some of them you agreed to and some of them you didn't. You had to agree to. Demand your freedom. Be a free human being, and demand that your government becomes small enough to where it doesn't bother you every fucking day. And demand that you get to keep your income, spend it however you want, and you will know, for instance, in Indiana, non-food products are all taxed, and they all have different tax rates. There's a luxury tax and all that shit. You can go pay that then. If you don't have enough money to buy goods that are taxable, and you only have enough money to buy food, which I don't think food should be taxed, but that's another discussion. If you only have the money to buy food, you shouldn't have to worry about, fuck, the goddamn government took 20% of my fucking money away. That's 20% less dollars that I have to spend on food for myself or for my family if you have one. That's fucked up, right? And then they rope you in. They're like, hey, we got this card over here for you. Come sign up for it. We got you covered. We'll just take from somebody else and give it to you. AKA, you're already doing it. Because if you look at your paycheck and you see how much you get taken out in taxes, right? Say each paycheck you get $150 taken out in taxes. Okay? You get paid bi-weekly. So every month you pay $300 in taxes. AKA you get taken out in taxes. That's $300 a month you could have spent on food, housing, electric bills, clothes, whatever. Anything that you want to spend it on. If you want to spend it on crack, that's your own business. What I'm saying, like, that's $300 more per month you could have had. But what do? They take that $300, and then if you're below a certain income level, you appeal to them that, hey, can I get some food stamps? They say, all right, we'll give you $290 a month for food stamps. How about that? See what the fuck they do to you? They take $300 from you every month. And then they give you back $290 every month. That's on a hook though too. Because if you grind and you make some more money, what do? They take that away. So then it evens you out. And sometimes they end up taking it all away to where you actually have a net loss because you pay a little bit more in taxes. Plus, you have all the expenses and everything like that you already had. And since you were starting to build a dependency on that extra money coming back to you from the government, now they're taking that, now giving shit back to you. And then since you make more money, they take some more from you. And you don't qualify anymore for any of the help. Right? So then what happens? You're like, well, fuck, man. I'm sitting here busting my ass to try to make it. And it's like I'm losing more. Sorry, I've been going on for a while. Taxes are a motherfucker. But you get what I'm saying, right? And then the more money that you make, the harder that you work, the more money that you make, what happens? You get more taken out. If you only make $12,000 a year, you see how much is taken out and it hurts. If you make $20,000 a year, you see how much is taken out and it hurts. If you make $40,000 a year, you see how much is taken out and it hurts. Nobody likes to pay taxes. And nobody likes to be stolen from. That's what taxes are. You're a slave, just like I am. We're all slaves. And this slavery does not discriminate based on what you look like. It is only based upon how much you are worth. How much you produce. If you produce more, they take more from you. And you can get ahead if you work hard enough, and if you're smart enough, and if you can outwit them. But they'll always find a way to get you. That's what the mob does. Alright. Hope y'all enjoyed what I got to say for y'all. Show's not over though. I like to get y'all thinking. And sometimes I just go. And none of that shit was scripted. I had a couple of things pulled up. And this is how I like to go. Drop me a line though. For real. I want to hear from you 100%. If y'all like what I say on these shows. If you think I talk too much, think I talk too little, let me know. I try to make it to where I only go at length about a topic once or twice a show because this is a music show, right? But I like to take a little break, have a discussion with y'all, right? And then play some more music. And y'all can fast forward if you want to, or you can listen and you can think if you want to. And if you've already heard it once, you don't want to hear it again, fast forward through, keep playing the music, go to the individual artist page, check out their music, and you can sit there and have that shit on repeat with that same song if you want to. I'm here bringing information to y'all. A lot of different types of information. Bringing the principles of freedom and liberty. Bringing the principles of individualism. Bringing forth the principles of free expression through music. Music is fucking amazing. You can tell stories with music that you wouldn't be able to tell if you were talking one-on-one with somebody. If you ever heard that one song that is just so deep and has so much pain in it, like some Amy Winehouse music, you know what I'm saying? Like Amy Winehouse, some of Pac's like really, really deep shit. Anybody, Whitney Houston, you know what I'm saying? Like anybody that when you listen to it, you can actually, if you're listening hard enough, if you're feeling it, it's not about hearing me, it's about feeling me. You know what I'm saying? If you actually can do that, you can feel the pain that they're talking about. Even in some of this music that's all about popping, I'm partying and everything like that, they'll drop hints to you. I'm in pain. I'm confused. I don't know what I'm doing in life. All I know is these pills make me feel good. This fucking drink makes me feel good. This fucking herb makes me feel good. So I'm gonna keep doing it because I don't want to face reality. Music has pain in it, and it's the expression of that and getting that out that is crucial to being a free human. And that's what the freedom of speech is about. That's what the First Amendment is about. Part of it. The other part of it is some other shit. But that's what the freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of association is. Imagine if you were an adult, grown adult, and somebody told you that you could only listen to one certain type of music, or one specific artist, or a handful of specific artists. Hell no. Because if any of y'all were raised like me, you weren't allowed to listen to certain music when you were a certain age and all that shit. Right? You didn't just have free reign to do whatever. And you did it anyway. And that's what free expression's about. You have the freedom to do that. Don't let anybody fucking tell you otherwise. If somebody says, man, I don't like, why are you listening to that bullshit over there, man? That's some fucking stupid shit. Debate them or ignore them. Like I always say. I'm gonna get back to the music. Sorry. Like I said, drop me a line. Let me know if y'all like me talking. I've heard some of the artists and stuff like that say that they enjoy my monologues. I've had some people tell me they like my commentary and stuff like that. I've been going a little bit long on this show, so I apologize for anybody who doesn't like it. Fast forward. If you guys do like it, drop me a line. Let me know. Up next, it's a song that tells a story.
Okay, I ain't got a big amount, but got cheese like in and out. Yeah, ain't got time for you goofies, cause I ain't no Mickey Mouse. My legs up on the couch, and I'm smoking up at the ounce. Yeah, niggas thinking they El Chapo when they flip their first pound. Damn, shout out to the town. We done had a game that I got right now. Got your girl choking on my microphone like B-Rabbit on 8 Mile. Kicking it with T-Rex on 7 Mile.